In the last lesson, we talked about some important tips to keep in mind when fleshing out the story and the characters in a drama trailer. In this lesson, we're going to show you how to make people care about them by creating emotion in a cut. We'll be covering 3 primary tools for creating this emotion: pacing, music and sound, and montaging. Let's start with pacing. In general, the pacing of a drama trailer is a bit slower than action and comedy. You want to give the audience time to feel the moments and live in the scenes a little bit. Earlier in the course, we talked about a key distinction between films and most trailers. That is, an audience looks into a film, but they look at a trailer. Looking at an action trailer is fine because it's shiny, flashy, and loud. But with a drama, you want your viewers to look into them. You want them to become immersed and emotionally invested, just as they would if they were sitting down watching the film itself. They should be able to relate to the characters and the situations in the trailer, and be able to see themselves in the place of the actors. For that reason, give your moments time to breathe. Linger on that subtle look between characters, and don't be afraid to let a scene play out a little bit. When there's a genuine and moving interaction between characters that contains an important story or relationship development point, give it some time to play as it would in the film. Another pacing tip is don't insert too much dialogue. When you have wall-to-wall talking, you never give the audience the time to process the information and feel the various emotions that you're trying to convey. And third, be mindful of the break into 3. This usually is a key line or moment that brings the first 2/3 of a trailer to a peak. Often, you'll stop the music for this line and you'll deliver it in the clear to emphasize it. Then, you'll bring the music back in and launch into Act 3 with swelling music, montage, and messaging. In Me Before You, the moment looks like this.
I promised my parents 6 months, and that's what I've given them.
But that was before me.
I want him to live, but only if he wants to live.
I can't just let this happen.
You can't change who people are.
I mean, what can you do?
You love them.
And if you hurt me.
So here, the break into 3 happens right after the father says, "You love them," and the music swells and begins Act 3 with lyrics and graphic cards.
I mean, what can you do?
You love them.
And if you hurt me.
In the Louder Than Bombs trailer, the moment is a bit subtler. There's no line delivered right before the break, but the music dips and the dramatic intensity increase should be pretty obvious. Take a look.
There's no story in a car accident. So people have to make one up. They have to invent something so that they have something to blame.
It's our life. It's our family's life.
In this trailer, the car accident is the break into 3. The dialogue delivered from Jesse Eisenberg talks about the accident a bit. Then the crash occurs with big sound effects, and Act 3 begins with the music landing powerfully.
It's our life. It's our family's life.
So, creating emotion with music and sound is mostly a straightforward process, but there are a few tricks that'll help you do it more effectively. First, you'll want to choose a couple cues for your trailer that fit the emotion you're going for. Now, that's obvious. One trick is to edit the music in a way so that the right sections of the cue play in the appropriate sections of your trailer. Sometimes, that'll mean you'll need to extend the music a bit by looping it. Use your markers to find the right beats to loop the cue. And other times, that'll mean upcutting the music, or bringing in a bigger section of the cue a bit sooner, because the storytelling in the trailer calls for an increase in intensity. Again, use your markers and the waveform as a visual guide of where these beats occur, and try to make the edit sound organic to the cue. Consider also using cymbal swells, and drum rolls to layer on top of these transitions and help smooth them out a little bit. And last, speaking of cymbal swells and drum rolls, use these types of sound design to accent certain emotional moments in your trailer. Good places to consider adding these types of sounds are music transitions, graphics, and big moments.
Loving can heal.
In your back-end montage specifically, you'll want to have a fairly regular rhythm of moments landing with intensity, which you'll often accomplish by adding cymbal swells, drum rolls, and hits, spaced out across the biggest beats of your back-end music. Keep in mind that you won't always need this added layer of sound design, even in the biggest parts of your trailers. The exception particularly applies when you're using a very well-known and moving song with lyrics, like in the trailer for The Impossible, which uses Damien Rice's cover of One by U2. With a powerful song like that, you'll want to let it play uninterrupted as much as possible, and just try to connect key visuals with certain lyrics. Okay, so finally, let's talk about montaging to create emotion in a cut. Almost all of the montaging in any trailer will occur in Act 3. Once your story's been told, the stakes have been raised, relationships have been transformed, and we're ready to sit back and live in the drama for a little bit. Here are 3 drama montage tips to keep in mind as you're crafting one together. First, most montages will play with the music at its biggest. You'll likely already have laid this part of the music into your timeline earlier as you laid the foundation with audio. Second, drama montages are about displaying a wide range of emotions through physical looks, gestures, and actions. Look at this montage from the Louder Than Bombs trailer.
I'm okay.
Family, they love you.
We're seeing joy, comfort, laughter, peace, love, and most of all, human connection. Third, you can include a relevant dialogue grid or graphical card run. Just because your montage is focusing on visuals doesn't mean your back-end emotional build can't deliver a verbal message, reinforcing the main theme of your film. In the Louder Than Bombs trailer, that message is spaced out nicely in a dialogue grid and says,
Family, they love you. You can feel it. And you love them too. More than anything.
Fourth, include some scope. When you're showing the transformation of your characters and trying to create an emotional connection, be careful not to let your shots get too claustrophobic. That is, pepper in some visually engaging medium and wide shots amidst all the close-ups and facial expressions. And fifth, as with any montage in any trailer, end on your most powerful moment. Very often, that will include a close-up of a human face.
Who made me possible?
You are pretty much the only thing that makes me want to get up in the morning.
Wait for me to come home.
Okay.
Okay.
In this lesson, we looked at some drama editing techniques for creating emotion in a cut. We specifically discussed pacing, music and sound techniques, and some tips for montaging in your drama trailer. Coming up in the next lesson, we'll be diving into the comedy genre and deconstructing a full comedy trailer to get a feel for the genre and get a look at some of the editorial tools used. Alright, I'll see you in a bit.